This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions. Coming a fantastic article I read from DailyReckoning.com from Jim Rickards. Jim Rickards is one of my favorite authors. I would encourage you to read any of his books. Start with the Death of Money. That was one of my favorites. Currency Wars. It's just his list goes on, and his credentials are fantastic. Wrote a different kind of article because a lot of people are thinking this is going to be the same form. We're using past history, especially in the last 2008 Great Recession, as a backdrop of saying, hey, this is going to be maybe similar to that. We're going to bounce back. Rickards points out this time is completely different, and we really need to think about things differently. I'm going to put about a link inside the description as always. I'm going to jump right in. Stocks tumble out the gate today, at least partially on fears about a resurgence in coronavirus cases. South Korea, which did an excellent job containing the virus, has reported a new batch of cases. Japan and Singapore also reported new cases. Infections are increasing in Germany as well, where lockdown restrictions are being lifted. We also can expect a rise in U.S. cases as several states lift their own restrictions, which has been going on. From both epidemiological and market perspectives, the pandemic has a long way to go. Its economic efforts are already without precedent. In the midst of the economic collapse, many investors and analysts return reflexively to the 2008 financial panic. That's what I was just saying a second ago. The crisis was severe, and of course, trillions of dollars of wealth were lost in the stock market. The comparison is understandable, but it does not begin to scratch the surface. This collapse is worse than 2008, worse than the 2000 dot-com meltdown, worse than the 1998 Russia LTCM panic, worse than the 1994 Mexico crisis, and many more panics. You have to go back to 1929 and the start of the Great Depression for the right frame of reference. But even that does not explain how bad things are today. Repeat that again. But even if you go back to 1929, I'm paraphrasing, that does not explain how bad things are today. After October 1929, the stock market fell 90% and unemployment hit 24%. But that took 3 years to fully play out until 1932. In this collapse, the stock market fell 30% in a few weeks, and unemployment is over 20% also in a matter of a few weeks. Since the stock market has further to fall and unemployment will rise further, we will get to Great Depression levels of collapse in months, not years. And that's a completely different difference than before. How much worse can the economy get? Well, Dr. Doom, the real Rubini, can give you some idea. Rubini earned the nickname Dr. Doom by predicting the 2008 collapse. He wasn't the only one. I've been warning of a crash since 2004, which is, yep, he has said that. But he deserves a lot of credit for sounding the alarm. The factors he lists show that depression will get much worse, include excessive debt, defaults, declining demographics, deflation, currency debasement, and globalization. These are all important factors, and all of them go well beyond the usual stock market and unemployment indicators most analysts are using. Those economists expecting a V-shaped recovery should take heed. That's highly unlikely in the face of all these headwinds. I've also taken the view that getting a PhD in economics is a major handicap when it comes to understanding the economy. Well said, because none of my economic classes I had in college showed none of this. I had that as a lot of degrees from my studies. They teach you a lot of nonsense like the Phillips curve, the wealth effect, efficient markets, comparative advantage. None of these really works in the real world outside of the classroom. Then they require you to learn complex equations with advanced calculus that bear no relation to the real world. Well said. And anyone who's taken economic classes like I have, I feel for you because it's nothing compared to the times we live in now. If economists want to understand the economy, they should talk to their neighbors and get out of their bubble. The economy is nothing more than the sum total of all the complex interactions of the people who make up the economy. Common sense, anecdotal information, and direct observation are better than phony models every time. So what are everyday Americans actually saying? According to one survey, 89% of Americans worry the pandemic could cause a collapse of the U.S. economy. This view is shared by Republicans and Democrats alike. PhD economists dislike anecdotal information because it's hard to quantify and does not fit their neat and tidy but wrong equations. But anecdotal information can be extremely important. With so many Americans fearing collapse, it could create a self-fulfilling prophecy. If enough people believe something, it becomes true, even if it was not true to begin with. because people behave according to expectation and cause it to happen. Wow, well said. The technical name for this is a recursive function, also known as a feedback loop. Whatever you call it, it's happening now. Based on that view and a lot of other evidence, we cannot forecast that depression will get much worse from here. Well, I'm sorry, I'm reading this incorrectly. Based on that view and a lot of other evidence, we can forecast that the depression will get much worse from here, despite the initial severity. But as the US PhD crowd will be the last to know. Below, I show you why you shouldn't believe the happy talk. We're in a deflationary and debt spiral that has only just begun. Read on for details. I guess it gives a link here. Again, I encourage you to take a look at that. Jim Rickards speaks anyone who's read any kind of economic books or anything financially, he's well known in the space, definitely one to pay attention to and listen to his particular words of wisdom. Can't stress it enough. I'm going to put a link inside the description. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments, hit the like button if it shows some interest. And until my next video, I'm out.